Hey there. One of the biggest questions that I get from artists about Instagram is, can I really find customers or clients for my art using Instagram? The short answer is, oh heck yeah, absolutely you can. But here are 5 things you need to avoid like the plague if that's what you want to do. So I want to go over 5 mistakes that I see artists doing all the time on Instagram that really make it harder for them to build that engaged audience. Number 1 is overthinking the grid, thinking it's all about the perfect image on Instagram. So there was a time period when everyone was so concerned about the layout of the grid, about the flow of the images, and the overall color palette, and do you have a succulent in your photograph or not, that people were slowed down from actually posting, which is what gives you the engaged audience. There was a time when the grid was more important, but that's not where people find you at this point in time. People find you through discovery. They come to you through an individual post, not because they go to your feed every day and are looking at the beauty of the flow of your images. Yes, Instagram is about images, but those images are there to grab the viewer's attention. It's not just about the image. And with the innovations that have been brought on in the last year or two with Instagram, especially the prevalence of Insta stories and IGTV, that grid is just not as important anymore. So number 1, do not overthink the grid. Don't get all caught up in planning the perfect grid. A corollary to that, though, is number 2. Number 2 is posting bad photos. That's a huge big mistake, especially for artists, because what we're trying to share is all about images. Our work is in images. But if we're sharing bad photos of our work, then our potential clients are going to be turned off. They can't get a good view of what it is that we're trying to share with them. So, what's a bad photo? Well, the obvious one that's either too dark or too light, it's overexposed or underexposed, but also one that has clutter in the background, that has too many extraneous details and is not really focused in on the art. Another thing that really can make a photo stand out as being a bad photo is if you're using awkward angles and you are displaying that image as a trapezoid. I know you've done that. I have too. But we don't want to do that anymore. You know, where the image is kind of tilted and a little wonky. Because when your image is tilted and a little wonky, it makes the viewer feel tilted and a little wonky. And that's not comfortable. The other place where photos can really be impacted negatively is if you are misusing watermarks. Handle watermarks with care. I'm not a big proponent of watermarks, and here's why. Watermarks do not stop people from stealing your artwork, and that's the main reason most people are using them, is that they're really worried about people stealing, downloading their images off the internet and selling or promoting them somewhere. Truth is, that watermark's not stopping them. There are programs out there that can remove the watermark. Even Photoshop can very easily remove a watermark from a photograph. So it's not helping to stop those thieves. What it is doing, though, is it's getting in the way of your ideal clients being able to see the work. When you've got a watermark that stretches across the whole image, that is not attractive. Now, visualize that on a grid of 9 images, all with your name plastered across the image. It's not going to function. Don't do that. You're much better off including the watermark, if you insist on having one, in the lower corner as if it's a signature. I've seen artists do that very effectively. Now, understand, it's not going to stop the thief, but if it makes you feel more comfortable in posting your image to have it on there, do it. But do it as if it's a signature and do it in the lower corner. Make it unobtrusive. I really strongly would recommend that you rethink that strategy altogether, though. Number 3, the third mistake I see artists making is posting sporadically or not at all. Get on Instagram, get going. When you're on there, post consistently. Don't post sporadically and don't post too often. Those are the two extremes, being random and then overkill. Both can hurt your reach, and reach is what builds engaged audiences. So post regularly, but don't post too often. It's like being the person at a cocktail party who walks around the room in a frenzy 3 times and reintroduces themselves to everybody in the room. Don't be that person. The fourth mistake that I see people making is agonizing over their number of followers. I've done that too. In fact, I've done almost all of these things that I'm sharing with you today at one time or another. If not on Instagram, certainly on Facebook. But the biggest problem I see with the being so totally focused on the numbers is that you don't pay attention to the people you've already got following you. When you don't pay attention to the people who you've already got following you, guess what? Nobody else is going to follow you either. Pay attention to the people you've already got. Don't worry about the numbers. If you are posting consistently and showing up, those followers will come. But if you're paying attention only to the numbers and you're having this sort of number war with other people, I've got 600 followers. I have 6,000. I have 10,000. I got the swipe up. Whoop-de-doo. That's not going to help you sell your art or build a client base. Yes, you want to increase numbers. Yes, you want to have more reach, but you want them to be engaged and you want them to be the right people. So where I see people falling down on the numbers, besides playing the comparison game to other people, is that they get sucked into that old follow back game, where people go, well, I followed you, you need to follow me back. Or if you follow me, I'll follow you back. I see people doing that in groups all the time. Let's get our numbers up. Follow me, follow me. Those people who are following you are not your ideal clients. You want to have quality followers, quality leads. So don't try to appeal to everyone. You want to reach out and find your ideal clients. Don't play the follow back game. Followers will jump ship when they've only come in through a follow back scheme. And that's like making your Instagram account the Titanic. It's going to sink. The other mistake I see people playing or making with numbers is paying to play. Thinking that and I'm not talking about advertising. Advertising can be wonderful. But there are promoters out there who will tell people who are new to Instagram or people who are a little less savvy than I know y'all are, that if you pay me X amount of dollars, I can guarantee you 10,000 followers. I've seen people do that. And yeah, you'll get 10,000 followers, but 90% of them will either be bots or they'll be from bot farms, which means they're people, but they are routinely joining and unsubscribing to all sorts of lists all over the place. They're not your ideal customers. You want that solid list. So don't pay to get 5,000, 1,500 followers. That does not pay in the end. It doesn't pay you back. And the final mistake that I see artists making is really one of the most profound. It's not being intentional. It's not having a plan for what you're going to do with Instagram. It's not having a plan on how you're going to move your followers off of Instagram and onto your email list or website, because that's where the sales take place. Yes, you can lead people to your DMs, to your messages in Instagram and sell from there, but you're still going to have to normally get them onto your email list, get them onto your website in order to build that long-term relationship with them. Usually, the people who buy in DMs are people who are on your email list because you've built that relationship with them. So the magic of selling on Instagram happens when you've moved your followers off of Instagram and onto your email list, and you've really solidified and built a strong relationship foundation. So let's quickly go over those 5 again. Number 1 is overthinking the grid. Number 2 is posting bad photos. Number 3 is posting sporadically or posting too much. Number 4 is agonizing over your follower numbers. And number 5 is not having a plan on where you want those people to go. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to be back with you shortly with another video on 5 easy steps that you can take to begin to build those engaged followers. Now that you know what not to do, I want you to make sure you've gotten that Instagram account set up. And then you'll be ready for those 5 tips when I bring those out. It's been great talking with you today. If you have any questions or comments, drop them into the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. Bye-bye for now. Happy painting, everybody.